Welcome back to another episode of the Danna-Gift show. Today we're doing another lifting and life lessons. Much better spirits today. I feel like the last couple days I've been a little more fatigued, but I had coffee this morning. Callie. My dog, she just does this like hacking coughing thing. I don't know if you guys have heard her throughout any of my other videos, but she does this every morning. She like sneezes for like 5 minutes straight and then yeah. Callie, come here. Are you just old, Mama? Are you just old? This is the Callie bear. She is old. She's turning 13 this year. 13, girly girl. You're getting older. To get ready for the gym, check out these magnetic eyelashes. I just got them in on the TikTok shop and this is like pretty dang good. This is really cool for the fact that I don't have to use eyelash glue. We're gonna test it. We're gonna test it at the gym, see if they stay. Just about ready to hit the gym. El gimnasio. I've been like trying to pick up a little bit every single time, and when I say chores are the never-ending task, that's just exactly what it is. Coconut water. Yeah. I have been obsessed with coconut water lately. I kind of go through these phases where I love plain water, and then other times where I'm like, I really need to have some flavor. And lately it's been more like I need flavor 24/7. But apparently water itself is not as hydrating as water with like salt or electrolytes, some sort of an additive. I guess it helps your body absorb it better. Let's fill her up. Yeah. I'm so excited to have this consistent energy once I get my explant. I think that's what's gonna happen. I feel like right now I kind of struggle with energy, like I always need to take a nap by 2. Oop. Fingers crossed. Okay, let's go to the gym. Let's go. Guess what day it is? Leg day. I figured today is the best day to be doing leg day since I actually have energy today. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's get a nice little warm up in. Making room for your best self. Ugh. Set myself up for success here. This would suck if I dropped this on my feet. Ooh. All right, shall we get started? First, we're still warming up. So let's get the body activated here. I could feel it in my thighs, still a little bit impacted from my yoga session yesterday. Warm up squats. I usually don't do squats because I feel like it's impacted my lower back, but I think I'm gonna start building myself back up to these so I know that they're good for you. I think before I was probably overloading myself. Also, I'm sure my form must have been off a little bit. Just do some little active stretches. How is it that I'm like already burnt out from the stretching? Making room for your best self. First of all, this is kind of just my own riff and take on it. And if you guys are here and you're loving these episodes, these lifting and life lessons, this series, please make sure you subscribe. I'm really focusing in on YouTube this year. So if you guys want to help a small creator out, let me know. Let's get it. Making space and making room for the best version of you. I'm gonna do this one more time before we start adding on weight. When you start talking about how you want to customize your life, you really have to get clear on what it is that you want. I'm sure you've probably heard this from a lot of other people, and the fact still remains. The reason why people are saying it is because it's a fact. You cannot get to a destination in your life if you don't know where you're headed. So you gotta have a vision for yourself and really sit and think on this. Don't just be like, oh, well, you know, I think I wanna be a fitness influencer, or maybe you want to get into trading stocks or whatever it is. I don't mean by just setting the sight on that ultimate goal. I mean, getting down to the nitty-gritty details of what those characteristics are from a person who lives that lifestyle that you desire. Let me add some weight to this, straight to 25. We're feeling strong today. kind of goes back to the previous episode where I'm talking about redefining your relationships, because it touches on a very core lesson I think all of us need to understand, is you cannot get anywhere in life if you don't necessarily know where you want to go. I should put a padding on this. That's heavy. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna put a padding on that. Ah, this is a nice little padding there, buddy. You truly cannot get anywhere or get very far in life if you are not definitive of where you want to go. So that means, I don't mean like planning every little detail of how you're going to get to that level of success, whatever that looks like for you. If, for example, you have desires to be a wife, what kind of wife do you plan on being? Do you want to be a wife that is noticed for her nourishment, how caring she is for her family and her husband? Like, ask yourselves these questions. What does a day in the life look like when you are, or when you become that person? And start living it. Like, start living out that lifestyle instead of waiting until something happens where you're like, okay, I think I'm closer to becoming that person. We ain't come here to play. Do not wait to become that person, because remember, where you want to go, you have to pour energy into it. And through that consistent energy, that's when that type of lifestyle will begin to be drawn into you. And start doing the things that you know that type of person does. So for example, if you are the kind of wife who does home cooked meals, and you nourish your husband, and you take care of your family, and you choose your family over your career, then you need to be doing all of those things. But also think about all of the different benefits of living that lifestyle, right? Like, why are you wanting to live that lifestyle? Well, because you find relationships important, or maybe you don't want to work. Maybe you want to be a stay-at-home mom. Maybe all you've cared about is having children. The clearer you are on the type of personality it requires to be that type of person, the more you're going to be able to draw that reality in a lot faster. I'm questioning my form here, guys. You have to check me. What I did in order to start envisioning what this life is, I wrote down all of the characteristics of what that lifestyle looked like, personality-wise, character trait, habits, right? Like, what does that person do on the weekends? Well, they probably don't drink. They probably are still working, right? Well, my ultimate goal was I want to be a content creator. And so what I did is I wrote down the game plan, if you will, of what character traits and habits I needed to develop in order to become a full-time content creator. Now, for me, that looks like at least filming once a week, at least editing all my videos, giving myself a deadline for each video. I got clear on how many videos I want to put out every week. I got clear on all the products and lists of things, of different brands that I wanted to work with. What dollar amount did I actually want to secure with working with these brands? What does that look like, right? I wrote all of this down in my career section of my life plan. And I'm saying, like, not just career, I'm saying write down everything from where do you want to be spiritually? Where do you want to be with your family? Where do you want to be with relationships, friendships, intimate ones? Where do you want to be career-wise, business-wise? The more detailed you can be and more definitive of the character traits and habits that it requires to become that is going to be beneficial. And just flow with it. Like, a lot of people don't want to do this because they feel like if they write this down, like, all of a sudden it's stuck in stone. That's far from the truth. What you actually need to do is be revisiting this vision of yours quarterly. And I don't mean you have to like rewrite it all, right? But I will say the more you can actually revisit it the more you can check to see if it's still in alignment with your current goals, because that will change. Your goals and vision for yourself is not meant to stay the same. Ow, this is gonna kill me. But you also need to be very clear on the habits and characteristic traits that you need to let go of. And yes, that means including relationships. Yes, that means including letting go of maybe binging on the weekends. Maybe it means you need to let go of your favorite TV show. Maybe it means you need to stop playing video games every single night. This is going to be a test of how bad do you actually want it. So there are so many people who claim they want to live this certain lifestyle, but then when it comes down to it, they are unwilling to make the sacrifices or changes that are necessary to actually become that person. Now, you can say you want a certain lifestyle all you want, but if you're not taking action to actually move towards that version of you, it's useless. Stop wasting your time. And this is not to be harsh or anything, but the reality is it requires work to become aware enough of the bad habits that you are having in your life. It requires a lot of work to stop doing them and then develop and reprogram and rewire your brain to become something more. Now, some days and some months, maybe you'll go through a dark period because maybe all of your dark habits are coming out all at once. That's kind of what happened to me. And especially when I found myself in this relationship with Dylan. Ooh, oh my gosh, that was heavy. It actually challenged me to become more aware more quickly. That is kind of what love does to you, whether it's, friendship, intimate. It challenges you in ways that force you to grow, either that or you separate yourself from it and choose to relive the same story over and over. You will continue to be faced with the same problem until you realize that it's actually you. And so, embrace the challenge, embrace the change, embrace your darkness, bring it to light. And soon enough, it won't be something that you have to keep hidden in the dark. When you expose it to the light, when you speak your truth, when you're honest, what ends up happening is the devil, or whatever you want to call it, no longer has authority to shame you into thinking that that darkness is a part of you that you need to hide. I encourage you to face and own up to your truths, because the more that you're willing to accept them as who you are and not criticize yourself and not make yourself feel like you're unworthy because you have these parts of you that you're not necessarily proud of, the more that you're willing to say, hey, I'm just a human and I make mistakes and that's okay, and we learn and we grow from it, the more you're able to push forward into the next evolution of you. Bring the darkness to the light, allow it to mold you. Ooh, that's gonna hurt my shin. Allow it to mold you and let it become a part of your story and your testimony. Dear Lord, I'm crumbling today. God, give me strength. Okay. How much more do we got? I think these lashes are actually working. I'm just gonna stick to 25, and I'm gonna overload and allow myself more reps so I can get it out, but I'm gonna take it slow. So the slower I move with this, the more time under tension I'll allow my muscles to actually feel the burn, and it ends up helping you to build a lot more muscle. A lot of people like to think, if I do more reps, that means I've done more in the gym. Not necessarily true. Sometimes you just got to add more weight, move more slowly, or take off the weight and move more slowly. It really doesn't matter how many reps you do. What you need to think about is time under tension. Meaning to say, if you're doing fast reps and you're doing it without any breaks, that's great, right? Because your muscle is under that tension for a longer period of time. Whereas if you also do lighter weights, slower movement, mean to say I count 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. That also is still including the time at attention. So I don't want you to think of it in terms of reps and how many you can do, how many sets. I want you to think, how long did I allow my muscles to be under this amount of strain, under this amount of tension? So the longer tension you have, the more your muscles will build. Okay, that was my little TED talk for the muscle building portion of this. So I'm gonna move slow. And if I have to stop talking, then, you know, it is what it is. Okay. All right, let me get this counting right in my head. Sometimes I stop the count right. 1, 2, 3, hold. 2, 3. Ugh. 3, 1, 2. I'm gonna give myself a break because I do not have the stamina that I used to have. So we're gonna have to let myself build up to that. So the last thing I want you to keep in mind is if you are wanting to get to the next evolution of yourself and you truly have no idea of the direction of where to even start, even if it's like starting a new business, or maybe it's even just figuring out like how to reprogram your brain. Maybe you're stuck on the same loophole of a story that you've told yourself year after year, and you're tired of feeling that way. Maybe you're tired of feeling shitty. If that's the case, sometimes you might need to invest in yourself. And I mean spending money on a coach, spending money on someone who can help you or direct you in that certain niche or business endeavor or thing that you're trying to learn. Because the fact of the matter is, there is always going to be somebody who, let me just rest, who knows more than you. And what you're getting when you invest in yourself and you allow yourself to have a coach, you're fast tracking the process so you don't have to waste so much time trying to even just start. Instead, you have somebody who already has the tools, who already knows what they're doing, who already has the direction, who can help you to reach point A to point B a lot faster. And sometimes it is nice to have somebody, an accountability partner, somebody who can tell you and help you point out your flaws. Especially if you are single, I would say investing in yourself, I would say even if you're in a relationship, just depends on what kind of relationship you're in. But I would say investing in yourself will never have a negative return. Now, maybe you invest in yourself in a certain area that you no longer use. Like I think about my college, right? Like I have a college degree in communications and public relations, and I technically don't use that degree. However, I will say overall, I learned a lot during that college experience. I learned that one, I can work hard enough to actually afford something like that because I paid it all on my own. I got scholarships. I learned what it was like to pitch myself and to sell myself. I learned different communication styles. I learned about agenda setting and how the media controls the outcome. I learned about so much. And although I don't use that physical paper degree, at the end of the day, I still use the amount of knowledge and life experience that I gained throughout that process. So education is the number one thing that no one can take from you, right? People can take away my house, people can take away all of the material things, but the things that I decide to instill within my mind, educate myself on, no one can ever take away. And so skill and experience, those things they are irreplaceable. It's worth it, guys. Even if it's like a little business course, maybe you haven't invested in yourself ever before. And so maybe start small. Right? Maybe don't go to that 10 grand coach just yet. Maybe start off with someone who's like 3 grand. And you need to actually make sure that it's enough of an investment where you actually feel a little bit of a challenge to make sure that you have a return on that investment. Example, you spend $25 on a coaching program and you don't decide to dedicate yourself to actually learning the skills and the trade that is required to receive the results, then $25 to you probably doesn't seem like a lot, right? So if you do not have, and this is what they call it skin of the game, if you don't have enough skin in the game, you're not going to want to actually do the work. So it needs to be just enough where you're like, that kind of hurts my pockets. That kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety. It kind of puts me out of my comfort zone. When it's just the right amount of skin in the game, you will do the work. Like, for example, one of my girlfriends, she was on her last like $10,000 that she had in her bank account overall. She had started a business and it ended up not being lucrative. And so she sought coaching and spent her last 10K on a coaching program to get into the right room, to meet the right people, to teach her the right things. And yes, did it cause her strain? Did it cause her the feeling of anxiety, like wondering how she's going to make it up? Absolutely. But again, that amount of tension, just like building muscle, right? Time under tension actually builds a lot of character, and you will almost always get a return on that investment. So you need to be able to accept the challenge and the strain, because through that, that's how your muscles grow. That's how your mind muscles grow. That's how your business grows. You need to put money in, you need to put energy in and invest in it, and you will get the output. Now, granted, some things you don't receive right away, but it takes time. I've been doing this content creation for on and off like 10 years. So if you're telling me, and I barely, I've made a couple thousand here and there from the beginning. I made like little brand deals, and now I'm finally in a place of stability. But it took me like 6 years before I actually started getting payouts from brands. It took me a while to actually see any kind of payout. So I'm just saying that it's the people who choose to stay in the game long enough to see the results who actually become successful. So just remember, maybe you're not getting paid out right now, and that kind of unmotivates you. But I'm telling you, your life, the one that you desire, is worth the challenge. Now, some people prefer stability and safety, and that's fine. But what are you going to be saying, in 10 years? Are you going to be regretting that you didn't put in the work now? Because in 10 years, you'll be like, yeah, I definitely could have been successful. Or are you just going to deal with the temporary pain and challenge in order to receive the ultimate life that you want? I think it's worth it. Yeah, I've had moments and scares in my life where like, even my brother kind of looks at me like I'm crazy. He's like, I don't know how you deal with half of the things that you deal with, but to each their own. I choose to live a life that challenges me and grows me and forces me to grow. So you just need to make that choice. All right, let's see what time it is. Well, we are doing good on time. I think I can do some little butt thrusts here. I am going to do that. I'm sure you guys have heard this over and over again, that it's usually the people who have grit who are able to see the success in their lives. Now, maybe you didn't live a life that forced you to have grit. Okay, I grew up very much isolated in a very difficult upbringing, and so I was kind of forced into it, but it also just it is something that can absolutely be developed through repetition of allowing yourself to be in these challenging spaces. It's all perspective, right? You can build the grit, but you have to find it within yourself to push yourselves beyond your limits and allow yourself to be in these spaces of challenge. It's just like embracing the dark parts of you, right? Like the more you're able to actually work through it, the more you're gonna find success. And the cool thing is the reason why you have more success doing this is because you start to build this unshakable confidence in yourself. When you put yourself through challenging moments in life and you see that you come out on the other side, not unscathed, but tougher, with more grit, maybe you have a little bit of scars, you actually start to realize like, holy crap, I am so much more capable than I thought I was. And you build up that level of confidence and independence in yourself that you're like, no one can take that away from me. So this is almost too light actually. We're gonna do it. going to see if I could do 100. 4, 15. I want 18. 19. I might have to stay quiet for this one. Okay, come on. 9, 15. Okay, I'm gonna give myself a rest. We'll do 50 and then 50 again. I am very overly ambitious sometimes. Oh my gosh. I always think I could do so much more than I can, which is good because I always push for one more. Grit. After I do this 100, we're going to be happy and content and we can go on our walk. 50 more. Something to pump me up. Okay, last push. I already did 100. Let's do 10 more. Ooh, all right, we're happy with that. We did 110 glute bridges, squats, leg ups, Bavarian split squats. We did the booty things, and we're proud. That is the little lesson today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is like some of the things that I personally had to work through when I was working on myself. And I really just want to remind you that this process takes time and there is no right or wrong timeline. It's all really based off of how fast and quickly do you want to grow. If you're trying to grow very quickly, then you're going to want to race to the failures. And that means racing to what you know is going to be challenging and understand that you will probably fail a couple times before you actually see success. I've never seen anybody reach success if they haven't had failures in their lives. And so racing to the failures is going to allow you to fast track your process. Hire somebody who's ahead of you. Speak to somebody, speak to colleagues, speak to people who inspire you, and allow them to teach you and open up your eyes and your teachability index. This means your teachability index is based off of how open are you to learning, because if you feel like you know it all, I promise you, you don't. And how willing are you to take massive action into learning, into applying those lessons that you learn. Meaning to say, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to do in order to get there? Now, I'm not saying go be an evil person and throw people under the bus, but I mean, like, what are you willing to do yourself? What habits are you willing to break? What challenges are you willing to face internally? What friends and relationships are you willing to let go of? And make sure you have a clear vision on where you want to go. And I think the reason why I harp on this so much is because I truly lacked clarity for most of the time that I was doing this content stuff. And I got so consumed with the idea that everything needed to be perfect. And so instead of racing to the failures, what I did was I stayed in research mode. I stayed in study mode. Essentially, I was procrastinating on what I actually wanted to do because in my mind, I was telling myself, well, I need to have everything perfect. I need to be able to execute the first time around, and instead of just taking massive action and racing to the failures. And so I wasted a lot of time doing that. And I wasted so much time procrastinating and telling myself I needed to do that much more research, or that I needed to wait a little bit longer before I moved. And you come to realize, especially like for myself, that the quicker you take action, the less time you have to fear that action, to fear the fact that you are most likely going to fail, and just get used to the fact that failure is part of the process. I hope you enjoyed this lifting and life lesson. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. The goal this year is to hit at least, honestly, you know what? I need to set my own clarity on that, because right now I'm like, I just want my YouTube to grow. But again, I'm always continuing to learn my own lessons that I preach to you. And so that is how I know that my teachability index is still high, because I allow myself to be humbled every day. So yeah, I have to set that goal. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you like these lessons, please, your love and support really means the world to me. This is what I choose to do, and I hope that you guys just love and support the content. Okay, see you guys in the next episode. Bye.